This is a fighter guide for Dark and Darker. I'm going to show you everything you need to know to get started with the fighter in this game. So, the fighter. For this guy, you're going to want to go to your class and look at your perks and skills. So let's go through the perks one by one. The fighter has a nuance. It's basically, do you want to play as a tank or do you want to play DPS? But there's a little bit of wiggle room to go a lot of different ways with the fighter. Specifically because no matter what way you're playing, generally, you're always going to want Weapon Mastery as your first perk for the fighter. Because what it does is it lets you use all weapons. And the main reason you do this specifically is so you can use a bow. If you equip a bow, then what you can do is you don't have to hard engage. Now, as a solo fighter, this is absolutely critical. But even in a team play, it's nice because when the enemy has a lot of range and you can't really deal with that range, you don't have to try to run in while archers and mages are shooting at you. Instead, you can meet them head on in the ranged battle and then try to get a kill that way or weaken them and get them to run so that then you can chase and then break the distance. Really helpful in long, narrow hallways where you can't just run through. Always you want a bow as a fighter. So that's a must-have. Always keep that in mind. That is a goal that you want, is to equip some kind of bow just so you can shoot at a distance and not to run it. Okay, with that one out of the way, let's look at everything else, though. So, Barricade is a tank one only. It's not really that great because generally if you're playing, like most situations, if you're playing a balanced playstyle or trying to kill people, it's not that great because the best defense is a good offense, basically. And yeah, there's time and a place for taking that less damage while holding a shield up is good, but that's really only if you're playing as a primary tank in a team setting, which is maybe not even that really good of an idea, but you can play that way. There's definitely potential to play that way because there's a lot of other things that go with this. So if you're playing tank in a team setting, Barricade's okay if you want to go full defense and not really care about killing anyone, let your team kill everyone. Combo attack is really good, regardless of which way you're playing, if you make room for it, because it makes your attack power increase by 10% with each successful melee attack within 3 seconds. So that just lets you get a ton of bonus damage whenever you just can flurry someone, just keep swinging on someone, which really helps you to actually kill people in this game as a fighter with a melee weapon. Counterattack is decent as a tank, but it's not really that something you get to do that often unless, I mean, I guess you do. You get in a fight with another fighter, you get in a fight with a rogue, you get in a fight with a barbarian, you hold up a shield, you block something, and then you swing and you do more damage, but it's only 10%, so it's really, I feel like it's not worth the perk in my opinion, but you can play around with it if you want. Defense Expert is pretty good if you're going full tank. It combos well with the Barricade one, which increases armor rating acquired from armor by 10%. So if you want to go in with crazy heavy armor, be slow as hell and not be able to move, but just want to maximize that armor gain from that and just be like the tankiest guy ever, maybe it'd be good for bosses, come to think of it, have one fighter come in like that. I'm not sure, I have to test that. But anyway, this is definitely a tank one. You definitely could use it otherwise, but there's kind of better ones, so I don't really recommend it, but it's definitely decent. Dual wield is if you're going full offense with a fighter, you don't even use a shield, because then it makes it so your attack speed's 15% higher when you have weapons in both hands. So that's good. Or actually, sorry, I got that wrong. That's when you're dual wielding. It's like you're using 2 daggers or something like that. Increase attack speed 15%. So if you're going to go that way, then you get this. But this is a really niche one, so only when you really need that one. Projectile resistance, again, goes with tank one. You get that, Barricade, and Defense Expert, and you're going to be really tanky because it makes projectiles do 10% less damage. Then Shield Expert lets you increase your movement speed by 10% while in a defensive stance, so holding your shield up. That's also good if you're a tank. If you really want to go full tank and never try to kill anyone, just hold your shield. Like, sure, you could if you want. And then Swift reduces the base movement speed penalty from equipped armor by 20%. This is much better for fighters who want to play aggressively, because then you can have some decent armor on and not have to be insanely slow because of it. So that will help you stick on people better and be more consistent. And we'll re-go over each of these again in a second, different combos of them for the different ways of fighting. But yeah, it's a decent one. So real quick, I'm gonna go through skills and we'll look back at perks. So, Adrenaline Rush. It's not that great, but if you do have it and you happen to stick on someone and start beating on them really hard, and you combo that with combo attack and, I don't know, dual wielding or something, yeah, in theory, you could do an insane amount of damage. But there's 2 that are really good that make this not as good of an option. We'll get to them in a second. Breakthrough reduces debuffs that slow movement speeds. It's cool and all, but it's so niche, it's not worth giving up a skill for it, because there's some better skills here. Second Wind is one of the skills you definitely want to have. It's insanely strong. It recovers 50% of your HP over 12 seconds, and it eliminates the side effects of Adrenaline Rush. So if you want to combo Adrenaline Rush with it, you can. But generally, the best thing to get with Second Wind is Sprint, so that you can chase people down, and when you get low, you pop Second Wind so you can sustain, heal, and keep fighting. That's generally going to be your best combo. But Adrenaline Rush is not bad if you want to try to force it. You can make it work, but overall, Second Wind with Sprint is going to be your most universally usable combo to use. Most value. You're going to get the most value for the least amount of effort, basically, with these two things. There's also Taunt, and this is also with if you're trying to play tank, basically, where it increases the aggro to all monsters within a 7.5 meter area by 50%. But more importantly, it increases your defense rating by 15% for 8 seconds. So if you combo that with Barricade, with Defense Expert, with Shield Expert, and Projectile Resistance, you can be really tanky with some heavy plate armor on. I'm not really sure why you'd want to do it, though. I mean, unless you really just want to tank out and let your friends kill things. Generally, it's better to play a little more aggressive as a fighter, but if you wanted to go that route, you combo those things, you can be really tanky. It'd be really funny. You could actually be so hard to kill. Then there's Victory Strike, which is not that great. It really would be, the Victory Strike is best when comboed with a two-handed weapon, because what it does is it increases the damage of your next attack by 20% of the weapon damage. So if you have like a Bardici or something, then yeah, you can just conk someone so hard with this, but especially when you combo it with some of the other perks. But it's really more universal to just get Second Wind and Sprint. They're just safer bets, basically, because this is nice, but will you ever actually get a swing on someone? Also, if your target dies from the attack, you recover 5% of your maximum HP. That doesn't really matter. 5% of base HP for a fighter is only 5 HP, so there's really no good use. It's not that great. Like, yeah, in theory, every 40 seconds you could kill a skeleton, and then by the end of the match have healed like 30 HP or something by always using it to kill mobs or something, but it's not that great. It's just not that great. Although I do wonder if you could get like 3 mobs next to each other and do the thing where you swing, you move your mouse from left to right or right to left, and happen to kill all 3 mobs with the same swing with Victory Strike. I wonder if it would proc 3 times, but that's getting super niche. So generally, Victory Strike's not that great. All right, so we already talked about tank, going basically a tank, which would be Barricade, Defense Expert, Shield Expert, Projectile Resistance, and you could swap one of these out for something else like Counterattack, whatever. Or Weapon Mastery, but probably better. Weapon Mastery, Barricade, and then Projectile Resistance and Defense Expert, and say to heck with Shield Expert, or say to heck with Projectile Resistance, keep something like that for tank. These are the good options if you just don't even want to kill somebody, if you want your team to kill people. But if you're playing a normal, more balanced fighter, and you actually want to kill people yourself, or if you're playing a very aggressive fighter, no matter what, you always want Weapon Mastery. That's a must-have. No matter what, you just want that so you can have a bow. The bow's super OP to have the whole reason to be a fighter is to be able to melee and have a bow. But then you definitely want Combo Attack, because that's going to make you just do way more damage in a flurry of attacks on people. And then you definitely want Swift. One of the biggest Achilles heel of an aggressive fighter is if you want to have enough armor to not get one-shot by people, basically, then you're going to be slow because the armor makes you slow. So if you get Swift, it reduces that amount that it slows you by a little bit, which just makes it that much easier to stick on people. You combo that with Sprint, and you'll actually be able to get up to someone and start swinging on them instead of just getting kited forever and then dying. So we got Swift, we got Combo Attack, we got Weapon Mastery. Now your last one is going to depend on you. If you're crazy enough to be dual-wielding daggers as a fighter, then get dual-wield. Otherwise, if you just want to be tankier, get Defense Expert. If you find yourself blocking a lot, then you either get Barricade or you get Shield Expert. Or if you find yourself getting mowed down by Rangers all the time, then you get Projectile Resistance. Or if you want to try to be nuanced at counterattack, generally, the easiest thing to do would be for the 4th one, just get Defense Expert. It's just a no-brainer. You're just tankier. Easy. If you're dual-wielding for whatever reason, then just obviously get dual-wield instead of Defense Expert, because that'll be cool. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, you can pick any one of these depending on which way you want to go. But yeah, the easiest one to go with would just be Defense Expert as a 4th. So one more time: Weapon Mastery, Combo Attack, Swift, and then the last one being whatever one you want as an aggressive fighter. Defense Expert being the no-brainer one. Now, as a fighter, if you're gonna go tank, you just want to go straight to the armor and buy plate armor, or find it in dungeon. You have some options. So like Templar armor will slow you less, but give you slightly less armor, but then also give you magic resistance. With a generic cuirass and all that, will take a ton of move speed away and reduce your magic resistance. And then you always want, well, fighters start with a round shield, but if you can get a heater shield, it is always nice because it blocks a bigger area. But yeah, so if you're going to tank, you just throw on this stuff. If you're not going tank, though, you want to be really careful about just throwing on tons of plate armor. Like maybe the boots, because they only reduce your speed by a little compared to the other boot options, and you get some metal, but then it makes you really loud. Keep that in mind. Plate boots, when you walk around, go clank, 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 and everyone hears it. So that's important to keep in mind. But what's generally better, at least for the chest piece, is go to the tailor. He doesn't have it right now, but there's a piece in here that you'll see called a Regal Gambison, and it'll give you like 35, a really good one will give you like 50 armor or something, and only reduce your move speed by like, I forget, like 5 or 10 or something like that. So you can go there to get that, and then after that, like you could try throwing on leather maybe. Like it's a compromise as an aggressive fighter. The compromise is between move speed reduction and armor. So you're just going to try to figure out a compromise that you like to make sure that you move fast enough to be able to catch people still. And if you're going full tankiness, you just go full armor. As for what stats do you want to get on gear, if you get the option, like you see a ring or something like that and you have a choice, definitely strength is going to be your best bet as a fighter. Agility is also good because it makes you move a little bit faster, but it's mainly just strength, then agility. And then the other things don't really matter. Resourcefulness is okay, but it's not really important. You have 15 of everything as a fighter, so like it's whatever. Move speed, if you ever get move speed on a bonus move speed on something, that's also good. Any bonus damage, bonus move speed. That's really your main thing. Or just damage reduction or something like that. Now, when you actually get in-game as a fighter, generally the way you're going to play, it depends on if you're solo, if you're a team. If you're in a team and you have a cleric, what you're going to do, assuming the cleric's going to follow you and heal you, is when you find a team, if you can, you're just going to hard run at them and start swinging while the cleric spams heals on you and just mow people down. That was what we did in a team, and it was really fun. And it works most of the time if both people are good. If the cleric can aim the heals pretty good. But otherwise, if you don't have a cleric, then you're going to play a little bit more nuanced. You're going to, go in and out, and you're going to pick at them with a bow, and then when the time's right, you're going to pull out your weapons and start swinging on them and stuff. Or if you see a good moment, you just go in and start swinging as fast as you can, basically, until they're all dead. Or if you want as a fighter, you can crouch walk around everywhere, sneak around, wait for people to run right past you, and then right when they run up in front of you, you start swinging on them and stuff. There's a lot of different ways you can play a fighter, especially once you have a bow. But generally, it's going to be, regardless of team play or not, is when you see people, you're going to pick at them with the bow, and then if you can close the gap with safely, then you close the gap, you sprint, start swinging on them with whatever weapon you have until you kill them. And if you get low, you maybe try to disengage and then start using the bow. Potions and bandages are your best friend as a fighter, and also don't forget to use your self-heal if you picked it with Second Wind in order to just keep going. But yeah, it's just hanging back, shooting arrows, and then when the time's right, you go in and go full commit to swinging and swing as fast as you can on someone, aiming for the head. And that's going to be a fighter in a nutshell. So hopefully it helped you out. That's my build guide and general tips and advice for how to play fighter in Dark and Darker. By the way, if this video helped you out and you want to return the favor, just check out this game I'm making on Steam called Art Gallery Simulator. I'll link this in the description of this video below the first paragraph. And it's just one of those simulator games. You're going to run art gallery. You're going to start in slums, upgrade a middle class, eventually get an art museum, sell a bunch of art, make a bunch of money, upgrade your shop, and place new things and stuff. It'll hopefully be a really fun game once it gets released later in March or April when I get done with it. So if you want to help, just go to the page and just add it to your wish list. You don't have to actually buy it when it comes out, but it'll just notify you when it comes out, and it helps me out a lot if many people wish list the game as possible. All right, well, that's all, guys. Hopefully now you know how to play fighter in Dark and Darker.